Good morning and welcome back to the YouTube channel of Old Bloke Crypto on February the 6th, 2024. Today I'm reviewing Frax Finance. FXS is the code if you're trading, and the trade I've taken several weeks ago, where it's at, where it's going to, and show you the parameters that I use to take trades with these alts and hopefully profit handsomely from there. So we're looking at Frax on the daily chart here on Bybit, and I've put on here for transparency purposes. You'll see my trading position here. I've got stop loss at $5.80. Our profit and loss is currently $124, which is very nice on a $500 commitment. Now, when I trade alts, these, apart from Ethereum, of course, the number one alt, I set a $500 limit. My stop loss is set at $500. So if I lose the trade, if I get stopped out, I've lost $500. You might trade $50. You might set your stop at $5,000. And it's up to you. These videos that I make are not financial advice. They are for educational and information purposes only. You do you when it comes to trading. And I'll show you how I do it and how, as you can see, the trade's going nicely. It's got a lot further to run yet. So where did I set my stop? These are the EMAs, 50, 21, 12, commonly used by professional traders. I'll zoom out in a minute and show you in more detail. But essentially, where the momentum has shifted to the upside on the weekly, and you'll see here, this is the light blue line is the 50 EMA. Price has risen to it, gone through it, tested it again the next week. Remember, this is a weekly chart, and then it continued on to the upside. That was my trigger there to take this trade. Now you might say, okay, it's gone through the 50 EMA just up here as well. It has penetrated through and closed above it, but you'll see there was not a confirming candle here. So it has then gone back down below the 50 EMA, closed below it, and invalidated that potential trade. So it wasn't there, so I didn't take the trade, as opposed to this situation here. Now, let's zoom out. And as I say, if in doubt, zoom out. Let's have a look at where the price action has been going for some time. And this is on the weekly time frame. And you'll see here that price, and it got up for when Frax first came out, it was crazy. It was up around the $40. So it's a little bit hard to see because of the great disparity between the highs and the lows. But you'll see here, price has gone down, has come back down, a lot of profit taking originally, and the price has dawdled around down here. You'll see here in a range. I won't draw the lines here, but essentially there's two ranges there. There's the top and the bottom of the range. But you'll see here that price has started to break out. Now, you might be more conservative and want to wait for price to continue on further to the upside. Totally up to you. This is how I do my trade. So zooming back in again. Price has gone through the 50 EMA, confirmed, and it's continued on for the last 1, 2, 3, and now into the fourth week since that time. My stop here is set at the 12 EMA, where the 12 EMA starts to reverse, and I'll zoom in even further. So you see here, this line here, and the 12 EMA, and then it's reversing to the upside. So that is my stop. So if price comes right back down again and touches that point, obviously I get stopped out. There's that $500 loss. That's my choice. But in my opinion, if it gets down that far with alt season happening now, or it's just the very cusp of it, there is something seriously wrong. Even with the potential downside we've got happening at the moment with Ethereum can come down to $2,100 or even $2,000 at the moment, I don't see it's very likely that Frax will touch this position. So that's why I've set my stop at the 12 EMA, and that's just the way that I trade. You might have a different place that you want to stop, but it's important to have a stop and the point where you're going to, you know that, okay, I'm going to lose X amount of money if it hits this point. So for me, that's $500. That's a standard trade for me, the alts. And just further reinforcing that point, this is a chart that I we'll share on Twitter shortly as well. And as I note here, and you can see it more clearly, that it's still on the weekly time frame, the EMA is 12 in the red, dark blue is 21, 50 is light blue, are stacked to the upside, and that's widening. That's another indicator that you've got to move on to the upside. When these EMAs start to widen, the gap between them, that's an indication that the market to the upside, in this case, is starting to accelerate. And we've got steady but not spectacular volume. There's nothing to write home about there. I expect that volume to increase in the next few weeks as ETH starts to get its feet under it. So let's find out what Frax is before you decide to take a trade in it. Looking at their website, which is a good way to go if you're wanting to decide whether to invest or trade in a token, obviously go to their website as part of it. So it's a staking protocol. There's more to it than that, but essentially most people use it as a staking protocol for ETH, where they can stake their ETH and unstake it at a future time, hopefully with a good return in terms of interest. Now, if you look here, the APR is 3.77%. It's nothing exciting, but also you've got the number 2 token in the marketplace behind Bitcoin. 3.77% for someone that's a conservative investor, for example, that's good coin. And one of the reasons that I have, that I'm trading Frax, and I think it's got a further upside or a better upside than its competitors such as Rocket Pool and Lido, is have a look at this here. This is an example. This is the earnings for 1,000 ETH staked versus Rocket Pool, 25% better return. Lido, 12%. And they're the big boys. So Frax is bringing up the inside rail, to use horse racing parlance. And in my opinion, it's got a better upside than its bigger competitors. Its market price, have a look at Frax's market price. This is an FXS, but this is a parent token. And it's got a market cap of $648 million. Not a whole lot. It's got a lot further upside that it can go to. And this is just another page from their site. And look over here, the total value locked is $714 million. That's nothing to be sneezed at. A lot further to go to the upside. Yes, indeed, but they're well established and there's been no reported problems with their app whatsoever. So again, another tick as far as I'm concerned. Now, it's all very well to have a stop loss, but how about a take profit? There needs to be, you need to have that in mind when you take your trade, whether you set your take profit or not. I think it's more important personally. I always have a stop loss that I set, but where's my take profit? On the daily time frame here, and this was right up around that $40 when it first came out. So we'll just ignore that for the time being. But you see this here, this recent high, which was in 2023. When I say recent, we're talking high time frame here. It's come out for 12 months ago, and it's around that $14.23. I'll be looking at that level, because when you hit such a significant top, and there's a big wick here, although you might not be able to see, there's a big wick here, which they always like to get filled. Wicks do. So you can see where prices come up here at the moment. And if we go up here to this, about that 14.20, that's my next point. So I will probably partially take profit here, probably 50%, and will then let it continue on. So to the upside as our altcoin season continues to play out. So really at $10.40, we're not a long way, with alt season on the cusp, we're not a long way from $14.20 or so. Quite happy to let it run. And as I said, take 50% profit, which I'll share when the time comes for transparency's sake on Twitter at the very least. And one last thing I'll mention is I always trade at maximum leverage. On Bybit, it's 25 times at the moment. Now, you do you. You might feel comfortable with 2 times leverage. You might feel comfortable with a much smaller or a much larger position. And that's why I say my videos are never financial advice, but it's very important for you to make the decision that is right for you. So please hit the like and subscribe buttons on this channel. Click the notification bell to be notified of future videos. I dare say I will be posting another video on ETH tomorrow. Hopefully we'll get a bit more action. Still expecting downside before upside. We shall see. This is Old Bloke Crypto, and I will talk to you again tomorrow. Thank you.